This episode brought to you by Humble Pie. It may not be your favorite, but it is certainly the most useful type of pie out there on the market. So what are you waiting for? Get your slice of Humble Pie by using the promo code Hannah the Human. Hop online at humblepie.com and order your slice right now. And again, you can get a discount code using Hannah the Human. That's $10 off your next slice of Humble Pie. Let's hit that theme song. Oh, nice. We're going for like existential vibes. Hannah. Hannah the human. I can get down with it. Get down with it. Get down. What a difference 1 year can make. That's what we're focusing on today. So I'm going to talk about this moment in April 2024. And then for my creative moment at the end of this podcast, it's going to be a little recording I did in April 2023, almost exactly to the day a year ago from right now. April 2024. So before we look back at a year ago and see the difference a year can make, I'm going to talk about right now, today, the present moment. What happened today began a few days ago. I have been thinking of moving per usual. I usually get the urge to move regularly every about month, 2 weeks, 2 months, somewhere in there. Change is my drug of choice. But also, you know what, guys? It's a fine line because being here in Sioux City has been my version of abstinence. I got a lease because I was going to force myself to stay someplace for a year. And the thing that I've been wrestling with is I don't want to be here until the end of my lease. I want to leave next month. And so I thought, well, I'll just take a month-long trip and do a kind of road trip. And I have a place in mind I'm thinking of moving. So I'm like, maybe I'll check that out. Why am I keeping the place secret? I want to move to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I know a few people there. And there's just theater and music and creativity and Lake Michigan. I mean, it's an hour away from Grand Rapids but still. And then there's like skiing an hour and a half away. It's not great skiing. It's Midwest skiing, but it's way better skiing than anything in Iowa. And so I'm like, you know what? I would probably enjoy my life more in Grand Rapids and I'd have more music opportunities. And when I get the little worm in my brain that I want to do something, I trust that it's intuition and then I go for it. And then if I get a bunch of like red flags and, oh, this isn't working, then I stop. And so that's why I just want to keep testing the waters. I want to kind of visit the area again. I was up there in January seeing a friend's play. I told you all about that. And so I'm kind of want to visit there this summer for a little bit and just catch the vibes again. That's my version of reasoning. I mean, I talk to people about it. I analyze it. I look at my finances. And that was getting me down too, because I've been realizing, do I really have the money to go move, to go rent a new apartment and pay the down payment and find a new job and restart and also pay for a month-long trip around visiting friends and family. Because I really want to see my family out in Idaho. I loved spending the summer there last year. And so as I've been thinking about it, I've been stressing about how am I going to make money? And then it's kind of the slower season at Red Lobster where I work. So not going to make as much money, or the money isn't going to come as easy as it is in the winter. It's just slower. All of that combined to make me just kind of be unsettled the last week or so. And I got some clarity today. I got some really good clarity today, but it came after I had to apologize to the management of my apartment. Wait, what? Where is this going? Okay, well, let's just paint the picture. So I've been thinking about all this, And then I was talking to my dad yesterday or the day before, and he was like, well, what if you just like come out to Idaho for the summer? Or I suggested it or something. And basically we began riffing off of that. Both my dad and I used the same drug of choice, change and excitement. And so sparks were flying as we're talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I could sleep in your office above the pantry store that you own. I can work like at your store, and then I can also go serve at the restaurant I served at last year. And then we can go kayaking together, and I can go hang out with my twin sister and my friend Mariana at the farm, and I get to eat ice cream and sandwiches and pizza, and I could do some line dancing, and I could go drive in the mountains. I could go swimming in the lake. I mean, what is not to like about this idea? Oh, wait, let's remember the fact that I have a year-long lease for $850 a month at an apartment in Sioux City, Iowa. That was the big bummer. But then I'm talking with my dad. He's like, well, maybe you sublet, although there's probably a rule that you can't do that. And then he's like, well, maybe you just ask around for friends. And then I was talking to another friend right after this, and he was like, oh, remember all this drama going on in your apartment? Because he lives at the same apartment complex as me. And basically all this drama was that now our bathroom fans run constantly. They removed the switch for our bathroom fans. I forgot if I told you guys this already, but it's the drama. It's the drama of District 42 apartments in Sioux City. I said their name. Honestly, that's the only thing not to like about these apartments. And the fact that there's apparently a water leak underneath me, because about every month maintenance comes in and is like, hello, we need to fix your bathroom, your, what's it called? Yeah, bathtub and shower. The people below are getting water. And I'm like, okay, I mean, you tried to fix it the last 3 months, but you keep trying. Anyway, I like the apartment. I have my own washer and dryer. I have a deck. It's right next to this like memorial cemetery place where I can walk around in the grass and get sunshine. It's 5 minutes from my work. What's not to like? Oh, that's right. The bathroom fan running constantly. The fact that they literally just removed the switch. It's gone. I can control the light in my bathroom, but I can't control the fan. And they said, well, the city told us this. You guess what? I called the city. Ring, 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 city. I found the right person. They directed me the extension I should call, and I think his name was Henry on the line. And he told me, well, these codes are in place. They've been in place when they built it. They obviously just didn't build the apartment to code, because now they're having to create ventilation to the outside air. And that is why they drilled a hole in our wall and put this little cover thing 6 months ago. And anyway, I feel like I told this last week, but I forget. All that to say, they now need our fan work all the time. And so I was like, oh, I could use that as an excuse to say like, hey, when I signed the lease, I wasn't agreeing to my bathroom fan running all the time, so get me out of this. And I thought, that's okay, that's kind of lying, because I'm not really wanting to end my lease because of the bathroom fan. I kind of more want to end it because I want to go on an adventure and not pay for rent when I'm not living in my apartment. But I just didn't feel right about it. I just didn't. I didn't feel good. So anyway, I called them. And then I get the management person on the phone, and I'm like, hey, is there any way I could cancel the lease because the fan, and I didn't agree, yada, yada, yada. This is this morning, the present day. And then the guy's like, okay, well, I got to do a little research and I'll get back to you. Well, then the person above him, like the manager lady person, then she texts me with their little management number, and she like lays out, hey, the only way you can get out of your lease is according to your lease agreement. You can pay the month's rent as a charge, and then you have to pay rent until the end of your lease period, or until somebody else takes the apartment, or you can just buy it out, pay us all the rent that's due. I was like, ma'am, neither of those options work for me. Why am I being penalized when you guys should have installed the fan earlier? I texted this so the tone didn't get across, but that was the tone that my thumbs were texting to this lady. And then ring, ring, I get a call back from the other guy. He's like, hey, so yeah, did they tell you about the two options? Those are the only ones we can do. And I'm like, yeah, they told me. Okay, well, you have a good day. Bye. And I'm starting to get mad now. Like, it turned from just me testing the waters, saying, hey, maybe I could end the lease, to I'm starting to feel entitled. Like, I am owed you guys canceling this lease so that I can go save money by working over the summer in Idaho with my family. And they aren't getting on board with that plan. And I'm getting frustrated. I mean, a few hours earlier, I was sitting journaling outside. I was feeling happy. I was feeling excited. I was giving myself permission to just go and have fun. I've been feeling like I want to stick with this whole stay thing and stick with your lease thing. And like, don't be a flighty little bird, Hannah. Deserve stability by not using the drug of change. You know, I've been in that mindset. And then I've just been like, there's something in me just begging, but can I give myself permission to say, yeah, okay, we tried that and now we want to do something else. But I didn't want to give myself permission, but then I was journaling, sitting out in the sun, feeling permission to dream, feeling permission to adventure, and I was feeling so happy. But now, talking to, I think his name was Kyle, on the phone, and texting my manager lady of the apartment, I was feeling no happy feelings. I was feeling mad feelings. I was feeling angry feelings. I was feeling frustrated feelings, entitled feelings, disappointed, despair, dare I say, because they weren't going to cancel my lease for me. Then I text more, and as I'm texting, I'm realizing I'm texting, well, is there your manager's number that I could contact? And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm a Karen. I am being a Karen right now, but I still sent the text. I work in customer service. You know, I'm a server. I deal with annoyed people who are like, my lobster tail wasn't cooked right. Could I have a refund? Then we bring a tail out to them and they're like, oh, well, actually now my steak's bad. You know, I know those people. I've served them and I try not to serve them, but like we legally can't turn them down because we're corporate or whatever anyway. And so I have to serve these people and smile when I know, oh, yep, they were the people who tipped me $2 last time and they had me recook 5 different dishes. I'm exaggerating slightly, but also not. I've literally last week served a table that I was like, oh yeah, I remember them. They tipped me $5 and they order all this food, like over $100 worth of food. And they give me like $5, even after I made their daughter a free birthday ice cream and all this stuff. I felt so underappreciated. And I mean, yeah, $5 is better than 0, but really? Anyway, I digress. All this to say, I'm being that person to my property manager lady. And I'm just aware enough that I'm being that, but yet I'm still choosing to be it, you know? Because I've committed to trying to Karen my way through this. And folks, I just want to let you know, we should be Karen, not Karen. We should be caring, not Karen. I just came up with that. Anyway, so they are like, okay, well, you can call Jamie, who's higher up. And I called Jamie, and he's like, well, I'm so sorry. And he explains it further. And then I'm like, well, I called the city, and they said that you guys didn't build it according to code. And he's like, I am so sorry. That is before my time of working here. Like, I'm hearing the humanity in this guy where he's just like, I'm just doing my job. Like, I wasn't on the construction crew. He was like, oh, well, yeah, maybe they missed that part when they built it, you know? And suddenly it just opened my eyes to, wow, maybe there's other reasons besides malicious corner cutting, trying to save a nickel. That is the reason why they had to fix the ventilation to meet the city's codes. Like, it just opened my mind, like maybe there's so many things out of the current management's control that they're doing their best to fix. And that includes running my bathroom fan on low forever and ever and ever. And I was like, well, thank you, Jamie. And I hung up. And I just didn't feel great. I felt mad and frustrated. And then I was finishing eating my delicious pancakes that I made. I finally, they rose perfectly. I got the right texture, the right amount of baking soda. It was amazing. It was like a professional pancake, honestly. Eat my little sausages and my pancake with delicious butter and plenty of maple syrup. And I'm just thinking about this, mulling it over in my mind, and I'm like, I regret doing that. And so then I thought, okay, so I immediately, I'm like, I'm sorry, God, for doing that. Can you please remove all these feelings of sadness? I just want to move on. I wish I didn't do that. And that's not who I want to be. I knew from the get-go I didn't want to go that route. And I know me, what I like to do is just be totally upfront and honest. I hate, that's the thing that can bug me about customer service is I want to be honest. Hey, you're really annoying me right now. I don't want to serve you. I want to do that, but then we can't, literally there's a certain table. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the guy who orders endless shrimp and stiffs everybody. And I was like, I don't want to serve him. But my manager's like, well, we legally can't or something. Anyway, she told me that I had to serve him. And so I'm like, hello, what can I get for you? I wasn't trying to be happy. I was like, what do you want today? I think that's what I said. Hey, what do you want today? Then I got it to him. And then I kind of felt bad. I was like, I guess I should be nice. And so then I tried to smile next time. He stiffed me as usual and whatever. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say that the way that I like to operate is just brutal honesty. And so trying to play the game and say the right things and get the chips to fall in my favor is not my forte. And I was just frustrated that I fell prey to the greediness or whatever it was that motivated me to go against my natural inclination of things. And then it dawned on me. I can apologize. And I thought, do I really need to apologize? Maybe this is just a big deal for me and I just need to let this go. I've gone on and on about this issue long enough. And then I thought, no, I'm just going to apologize. So I sent a text. I'm actually going to read the text. Here's the text. I've had some time to cool off and I'm sorry for being mad and blaming. I realize there's just some personal life things that I'm frustrated about and I was using the fan situation as an excuse. I'm really sorry for being a Karen and making your day not as pleasant. I work in customer service and I know I've been annoying to you. I'm sorry and you won't hear any more about this matter from me. I apologize to you and the whole team. And I didn't know if it would get to her, right? This is a company phone number, whatever. And then she responds, hey, Hannah. Oh, and by the way, once I sent this, I felt just a sense of peace. And this is the moment of clarity I was telling you earlier. This is the moment when I realized, what I really want is the permission to go on a trip. I want to spend the summer in Idaho. I want to go swimming with my friends in the creek. I want to eat my dad's ice cream that he makes at his business. I want to lay out in the sun at the lake. I want to serve people food as they vacation in northern Idaho. And I don't want to be inside at Red Lobster in Sioux City over the summer. And I don't want to spend a winter here in Sioux City. I don't want to save money over the winter and then move. I want to get on with something that excites me, like going to Grand Rapids. I want to do that now. I'm not going to put it off because I should or it's what the wise, smart people do or all this stuff. It's no, I'm not excited about spending another winter here, even though I've so appreciated being here. I feel like I've learned a lot about how I can create a life I want, how I can stay, how I can come back. And from this text of apologizing, I've also learned maybe this is what it means to be a responsible person. Maybe you take responsibility for, I signed a lease, and then you don't try to worm out of it and blame people and make excuses and manipulate and threaten or whatever. Maybe that's what being a responsible adult is. Maybe it's a lot more about being able to apologize to my property manager than it is about staying somewhere for a year. And this is all hitting me right after I send this text, and I just feel so much peace. And I suddenly realize, I have to say no to something in order to say yes to the other things I want. And it comes down to I'd rather say no to being Dave Ramsey's pet child of financial responsibility and have a huge savings and move to Grand Rapids with a 3 to 6 month emergency fund and debt free and have my car paid off. I'd rather just go. I'd rather say no to that. I'd rather say no to the security of, well, at least I have a job here, an apartment here, and I know what life is going to be like here. I'd rather say no to all that in order to say yes to spending a summer in Idaho and getting to start a new adventure in the fall. I felt so much peace because I had been trying to make myself say no to the adventure in Idaho and to moving to Grand Rapids. And now I got clarity. I can say no to the other thing that I thought I should say yes to, but really I've been saying no to all along. And then, like I mentioned, she texted me back. It got to the right person. And she said, "Hey, Hannah, you are totally fine. Thank you, though. I truly do appreciate it more than you know!" ! I completely understand where you are coming from about the situation. If you would like, I can send maintenance in and see if there is something they can do about it. We do appreciate the apology, though! ! I mean, if I was feeling peace, I feel ultra peace now. And I said, "There is nothing I need you to do. Thank you so much for being kind." She said, "If there is anything we can do, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to help in any way I can." And that's when I realized, see, my honesty is the best policy. Bluntness is my superpower. See, it's paying off. I'm just going to lay it all out there. Because then I thought, oh, well, do I just say, "Okay, thanks"? Or do I honestly tell her, like, yeah, I want to go to Idaho? So I tell her, "I will definitely let you know if I need anything. I am going to be spending the summer with my family in Idaho, so I may want to end my lease early for that, but I don't want to unless I can find someone to get approved to take over the lease. Otherwise, I plan on just paying for the apartment, even though I won't be here during the summer. If that's the case, I'll formally let you all know so that it doesn't qualify for abandonment. Ha ha ha, smiley face." She responded, "That sounds great. Thank you for the heads up. Just keep us all posted on it all!" ! I said, "Will do!" ! I feel like I'm friends with this lady now. I feel like we could go out for drinks tonight. I feel like I'm on her side and she's on my side. And that is how I want to live life. So here I am in Sioux City, Iowa, planning to change my life again. And now I'm going to share with you a recording that I made a year ago, so you can see where I was a year ago. And just warning, it's really profound. It is a work of art. I've listened back to this recording multiple times because it's like a prose version of a poem. It's like the feeling you get after a really good song that resonates. Maybe it just resonates with me because I'm me, but I feel like it's going to resonate with all of you too. So buckle up, have fun. Here is me in April 2023.
Hey, it's me, Hannah. I'm sitting in my car. I just finished a sandwich. I think I'm going to eat some beef jerky. Hold on. Oh, there's crumbs in my bed. Don't eat a sandwich in your bed unless, of course, you're in your car and the only thing in your car is your bed, because that's the whole back of your car. So I'm here in between nowhere and nowhere in the middle of Montana. I just watched a thin crescent moon, slightly tinted orange, fade behind the hills on the horizon. It's been dark for a few hours, and I think I'm going to go to bed soon. But I've just been thinking about recording a podcast today, maybe because I've been listening to podcasts as I drive. And I sense that there's a conversation. There's like a conversation going on that I know I can be a part of if I start sharing it. Or maybe it's just, maybe what it is there's a conversation always going on within me, and something within me also wants that conversation to be outside of me. Maybe because it's both. Maybe because there's a conversation going outside of me and there's a conversation inside, and maybe the two are actually one. And this podcast can be the glue. I don't know. This is getting too deep because I just wanted to tell you that the stars are so bright in Montana. They're so bright, especially the North Star that I'm looking at. I think, no, it's the planet. It's probably a planet. I don't know my stars, okay, guys? I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, yeah, this is so rad. And suddenly I'm like, you know what would be handy if I just, I don't know, learned how to use any weapon, you know? It's cool to go explore places, but I'm like, you know what I think my weapon is going to be? I'm just going to find a man who knows how to shoot a gun. Plus, he can keep me warm in the back of my car, right? You know, am I right or am I right? And anyway, back to the stars. So, they're very bright. I'm looking at them out my window in the back of my Toyota RAV4 2011. And I'm gonna eat a beef jerky stick. Hold on, let me get it. There we go, beef jerky stick procured. Taking a first bite. Okay, what do we think? Okay, a little spicy, but everything's kind of too spicy for me. Sensitive little palate. However, I can sense the joy that my body is feeling by consuming this protein. You know, what's kept me kind of from starting this podcast is just thinking, what is my first episode going to be, you know? Do I go and tell my life story? Like, how do I introduce, like, what do I do? Just start talking? Oh my gosh, is that a car driving down the road? Whoa, I saw lights. I kind of just don't want anybody to discover me. Just leave me alone, okay? The lights aren't coming, so hopefully they just stay over there. Just leave me alone or I'm going to hit you with this stick of beef jerky. Like that. But back to what I was saying. What I was saying was, it's like, I don't know what to say, you know? How do I start this podcast? Like, maybe I just need to start releasing episodes that nobody listens to, and then somebody will, quote, find my podcast, and they'll be like, oh, 30 episodes, my goodness, well, this title looks interesting, and they'll just start in the middle, and they won't realize that the whole thing has been starting in the middle, you know? Or I could do like a whole beginning of my episodes could be like a story of my life. People love talking about themselves. I'm a person. I enjoy talking about myself. I could tell you, but I'm like, what do I tell you? Well, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's just so hard to talk to nobody. I need to interview somebody. I need somebody to interview me on my podcast and ask you how my life is, you know? Because I'm not famous enough for people to know my life, right? I'm not famous at all. So no one's going to be like, oh my gosh, it's so-and-so. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes, we know she's had these 6 boyfriends. She got married twice to these 2 guys at different times. Oh my gosh, she was raised in this little rural town in the middle of wherever. And yes, she was homecoming queen. And oh my gosh, we know about her dad. He ran that steel mill or blah, 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 whatever people have, you know, in their story. Oh my gosh, yes, we know all about her life. She got famous taking pictures of her dog when they went on a vacation in Costa Rica. I'm making up random facts that don't even connect. But basically, there's none of that backstory out there. I'm a nobody. However, everybody's a nobody until we just start being a somebody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a story because they're alive. Everybody's in their story, you know? And the somebodies are only somebody because we know their story and we care. So I'm going to be a somebody to myself. I'm going to know my story and I'm going to care about it. That's good. You can take that for yourself as well. You're a somebody. You're going to know your story and you're going to care about it. That's good. Hold on, let me take another bite of my beef jerky. I also have things that stop me from making a podcast, like, oh, well, I need to get the right microphone, and how am I going to do the setup? So I just whipped out my phone and just started recording. We'll see how this sounds. Maybe it sounds actually decent. Also, Hold on. I choked up my beef jerky. Deep breaths. I don't want to drink a ton of water because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom because I am out in the middle of nowhere and there's still snow on the ground, so, and there aren't any trees where I'm around, so, okay, but the real reason is I forgot to pack toilet paper or paper towels or anything. I have like 2, so I'm just trying not to have to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, back to what was I saying? Oh yes, I was talking about, that I was concerned, I need my audio quality to be good and whatever. But then I thought, like, my plan is to interview people. I'd love to, like, interview them, whatever. I'm like, the audio's only going to be so good when I'm, Zoom calling people and screen recording that or whatever I do. Like, come on, Hannah. I do like good audio, but it's like, realistically, I don't think I'm going to, interview people who have their own podcast setups wherever I'm interviewing them from. You know what I'm saying? And I'd much rather just be flexible, Just be able to sit in the middle of nowhere in Montana and record a podcast. Rather than be like, I'm back in the studio, Well, this has been nice. I'm going to drink a little water. But it's like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking doing this. I'm literally, I'm living like the life that documentaries are made about, Like, oh my gosh. I went wading in, what's its name? See, I'm not good with names and whatever, but I went wading in a beautiful river and then lost my keys and my flip-flop fell off as I was climbing up the shale cliff. And I look down and I'm like, wow, okay, I could fall down there and really hurt something. And fortunately, I was like, okay, I think there is service. So if something really bad happened to me, I could call. But I'm like, only if my phone survived the fall, And anyway, and then I'm climbing up and it's just like, I'm driving and it's snowy and then I wash my face tonight at a gas station somewhere and I just keep driving and here I am parked on the side of a dirt road somewhere and it's just like, wow, I'm in my cozy little car and I made myself my little sandwich and oh my gosh, like I'm living an adventure, Like what the heck? My life is right now, this moment is the kind of story I would hear about and be envious of, there would be a draw to it of like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, wait a second, am I that cool person? What the heck am I doing? Like when I think about it, I'm a little bit like, oh my gosh, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Like I have that feeling of like, oh yeah, probably all the fatherly figures in my life would be sweating bullets right now. But like, what's to fear except scary things? But, my gosh, I cannot wait till the sun rises tomorrow and I get to see what it looks like. I get to wake up to this world. And actually that thought made me think. Another encouraging note for you all. It made me think, wow, what if sometimes in life we don't know where we're at because the sun hasn't risen yet, And we don't know our bearings, right? All of us begin this life in a womb, in darkness. We can hear muffled things, but we don't have a point of reference. It's all dim. And maybe it makes more sense when you come and it's light, You come out and then it's day. And then you get to see where you're at. And we start this life and we don't remember that. We start from, literally, we can't remember our beginnings. And some people, I don't think I'm one of them, but some people do, and it may be true, believe that, we have many different existences, reincarnation or of some sort like that. And that just like we don't remember our beginning as babies here on this earth, we don't remember our pre-human existences, or other human existences that we've had if that happened. And maybe that's true, but the one thing I know for sure is that's true, is that we have this existence, and we can't even remember the beginning of it. Like, think of that, guys. Everybody begins in the middle of their story. Wow. This is tying back to what I said earlier about maybe I just begin in the middle, you know? But there is a beginning. And it's our mothers who can tell us the beginning. It's the ones around us, the ones who know us, that can tell us the things we can't remember about ourselves. Maybe you can't remember when you felt proud of yourself, but your aunt or your high school best friend or your cousin or your sibling or your parent or that lady next door who gave you cookies when you were 7 years old, they can tell you of that moment when everyone, including you, were proud of yourself. Maybe you can't remember a moment when you felt free, when you felt uninhibited, you know? Maybe you can't remember what it's like to be at peace. But the ones around you, the ones who know you, they can remind you, hey, you don't remember this, but I remember. I remember that one evening when we were sitting on the front porch and you turned over and you smiled at me. And I took that sip of root beer too fast and choked and threw it up and we laughed. And I remember how safe you made me feel and how safe the moment felt. And I remember the peace. And maybe it doesn't, I know for me, a lot of times the memories, I can dismiss them, you know, because it's not real now, right? Like, oh yeah, that's what you remember of me, but it's not real now, you know. What feels real to me is something else. I think of my mom. I think of other people that experience pain. Because my mom's had a hard time the last few years. She's had a hard time realizing how awesome she is. And I think of her and I think of how real it feels, you know? How real it feels to her. And how deserving it feels sometimes, just be in the dumps for her. And I know there's many others that feel that way. And I'm like, I'm thinking like, what do I say to that? What do I think about that? What do you think of that? What is more real, you know? Like, what do you say, you know? When you remind someone of who they are and they don't want to see it, you know? They would rather the degrading version that feels safe to them because it feels so real at the moment. I mean, what do you do? I'm asking myself that, you know? What do you believe? I think, going back to the very beginning of me talking, things like the stars and the moon and the sky and the open space and the intersection of nowhere and nowhere. Those don't get sucked into our little human stories of degradation and confusion, you know? We are so blessed to feel things, you know? We're so blessed to be able to create realities of internal worlds and express external things, you know? And there's a beauty to the rocks and to the trees and to the sky that is like the moon. And I sit and I watch the stars and it reminds me, well, it makes real the narrative of hope, the narrative of trust and belief in yourself and others in the world. Because the moon never doubted itself. The stars never feared what their purpose was. The creek never felt confused, and the sky always knew where it was and who it was and what it was. And you fit. You fit in. Somehow you belong. when you're surrounded by all the things that belong, all the specks of dirt that are at home, being the dirt underneath your feet, the dirt stretching for miles, the dirt that has seen generations come and go, the dirt that has seen every civilization on it. It carries the memory of hope. It carries the memories of life. Going back, like maybe the trees and the rocks and the sky can speak to us as the ones who've known humanity for so long. And they can tell us of what we don't remember. I think I'll end this with the beginnings of a poem that I thought of the other day as I was driving past the creek that runs by where I live now. Lightning Creek, I think it's called. Again, I'm not great with names. But as I drove past the creek, and it was late afternoon, I saw the river running, turning to white foam where it met stones, shimmering in the sun. I know it will glisten in the moonlight, and it will dance as the next day dawns. I watch the river run. It flows into my eyes and over my heart and finds my soul.
Just soak that in. And now, peace out.